Paper Cut here with another replay review. Today we're doing a silver player in Raiders 11 who plays Byzantines against Japan. Raiders reached out to me and he was like, I heard you, because on the Reddit all the time I'll offer to do replay reviews to people who are like, I'm struggling in the game. And he was like, I watched your videos and I think it's actually really helpful. So he asked me to do it and I'm happy to do it. Before we get started, if you're watching this video, I really hope that one, you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, as you hear every YouTuber say. And check out my other series. Go check out my playlist. I have a variety of other videos. I try to produce a lot of educational content for people wanting to learn how to play AoE 4. So we want to watch, see what he did right and wrong, what he could do better, and try to walk away with a few broad goals for him to work on in his upcoming game. So let's get it. As he starts his scouting pattern, I want to talk about matchups. When you enter the game, it is super, super important that you have... I need to pause right here, though. Let's pause for a second. First, you have a game plan in mind. I coach a good amount of silver and gold level players. And the thing that holds a lot of people back is that they don't actually enter with a game plan. They kind of enter everything they want to do, but not something they are... like a plan in mind. Like, I'm going to do feudal aggression and try to win feudal. I'm going to I'm going to do some light aggression into a castle rush. I'm going to do 2 TC into a defensive boom into castle. Like, having a plan allows you to, one, have a clear execution goal, which allows you to gather resources better, which allows you a lot more direction on what units you want, and then allows you to, when you lose, go back and see what part of your plan didn't work. So Raiders, I hope you have a plan coming into this game. 2, your plan should also be affected by map and by Civ. And so this map, Dry Arabia, is a very open map. It's a classic AoE map. And your opponent, as Japan, has kind of like 2 main builds you're going to see. You're going to see them do 2 TC into feudal aggression, 2 TC into castle, or just a straight up castle rush. Sometimes you do see 1 TC aggression, but that's not something you see as much. But as Byzantines, a classic thing with the Byzantines, your own Civ, is that people know that feudal aggression against Byzantines is good. So you should probably expect some sort of pressure. And I'm curious about what you plan to be doing here. Now, I pause because, one, the second the game starts, you need to rally your villagers to a resource. I know it's small. Your villager command just kind of stood there. But I would always rather you rally to a resource in case you don't see your villager in time, and then come back and just move into the thing you want him to do. Second, scouting pattern. You should always scout towards the center, and then cut back, get basically a quarter of the map completely uncovered, gather sheep, drop them off. Then you move down, get the other half, go back up and get behind your opponent's base, and then check this last little corner. But you should be behind your opponent's base when they hit feudal, so you know what they're going to do. The reason you want to do this is because you want to, as much as possible, not have to retrace your steps of scouting, have the whole map clear so you know where to go for possible resources, and you see your opponent's base so you know where you can raid, where to attack, where they're going to probably be setting up. And so notice this, right? Since you did this little like weird half circle, you're gonna have to come back here again, which is a waste of time when you could be on your opponent's side. And there's a chance you just miss sheep because you're kind of doing this like up and down pattern. So center, and by center I mean go. If you're right here, your opponent of course has to be like right here. So go halfway, pick a side. Usually higher level opponents will do the same thing. You guys go opposite of each other. So if he goes up, you go down. If he goes down, you go up. Cut back, boom. Okay, I'm not going to explain that again. I kind of did that twice. 1 cistern opening. Looks like you're trying to get to feudal as fast as possible. Way to send your sheep back and not waste time going near the TC. Small but helpful. Since you probably want to get back to his side and stay there to see what he does, I would actually at this point just kind of run to right here and do that same thing where you send your sheep towards a TC and then keep going so you don't just carry sheep around for a while. And also, I'm going to be kind of watching how you use your cistern, because early on you probably want research upgrades until you actually start making military. Things like that, small things that really help. And see what I mean? You just ran all the way back down and you still have not looked at your opponent's side at all. You have no idea what he's doing. You have no idea what he's doing. Which, if you were looking, you would know he's doing a 2 TC opening, which might affect your plan. That doesn't mean you radically completely change it, but it affects what you do. Again, the second cistern ready. see what you age up with. Grand Winery. So this is a map where you could definitely do Imperial Hippodrome. Because one, it's such a wide open map, good for raiding. Two, which you're going to see in a second when you get near your opponent's base, doing 2 TC. So if you got up Horseman quickly, you could disrupt that 2 TC. Or keep poking at him while he's trying to like get resources off of it. Or maybe you're a defensive boom style. In that case, this is all well and good. And it means you're probably going to go more mercenary. So I'm curious what mercenary contract you pick. Ooh, oh, no. That hurts. So, how do we avoid that? I am all for shift queuing your scout around the map, but you have to generally know if my base is here, he's probably here, and when your scout's getting near that side, you actually watch your scout, because you cannot lose your scout like this. This early, you're missing still at least maybe half the map of resources. Two, you're not going to know his opening moves, so I would actually say you need to remake a scout. I hope you remake a scout here. Because you got to know what's going on. Okay. I always appreciate that you're over. Like, I'm a big for people of like silver, gold skill level. I'm really big on overqueuing villagers, because you can always go back and unqueue them and build something, but if you forget to queue a villager, you can't magically make that villager appear. I'm curious to see what upgrades to go for here. So the housing upgrade. Okay. I'm really about wheelbarrow as like a tech you need to get immediately. But it really depends. If you're doing feudal pressure, then you're going to want like wood to build production and archers and things like that. Wheelbarrow just helps with all your villagers. It looks like you're going to do a winery opening, which wheelbarrow helps a lot when you're doing one, different berries. Two, when you start making farms. And if you're going to be making olive groves to do this whole mercenary style, wheelbarrow double products is really helpful. A way I kind of say is if you have 8 or more villagers on a resource, you should probably get the eco upgrades for it. If you're booming, every eco upgrade pays off. The earlier you do it, it pays off so much down the line. And the contract is Keshik's Gulam's Tower Elephant. Thinking about, so you're playing against the Japanese, who are primarily infantry civ, they can make it. Sure, I would. I think I lean longbows, and the reason I lean longbows is because your spearmen are so good, and so your spearmen can form a front line, and a mass of longbows would do really well against Anapadesha. It would do well against spearmen, and even against samurai at large enough numbers, they could do work. All he needs to do is mix in spearmen, and your Keshiks don't do as well. Now here's your next problem. The next problem you're running into is that you can't build any units until you get 400 olive oil, and you have all these resources sitting here. And once again, you have no scouting. You have no idea who's doing. So all of a sudden this Anapadesha shows up, and this is bad news for you because you have no units. And he can push you off all these resources over here. I would say a big thing, nice cistern placement though. You need archers immediately, and you need spearmen until you get out Keshiks. Because he's going to get to raid with no problem. And once these Anapadesha numbers get really big, it's going to become a problem very, very quickly. This takes so long, right? So I'm all going for mercenaries, but you have to do. I would vote earlier production, and you need units, and then the mercenaries come as a second wave. Which is why, once again, I'm for longbows, because it takes time, and you need some sort of front line to start out. So first, this tower doesn't really do much. Here it does something, here it does something, here it does something, but sitting here it doesn't really do much. You want it out where its range can actually affect if you upgrade it. But this is actually a good time for you to do something. One, this would be a great time for you to put up walls on the backside to protect. Did you check? Magneti, that sucks. I was to say, if you got something really good from this, you might have wanted to go to the trade post. But if it looks like he's going to do a rush here, Probably a rush. My guess into castle. I don't think he's trying to beat you here. I think he's trying to go castle. But this is a good time to get up walls. But let's like actually look at your resources here. If you're trying to go castle, then you're kind of doing it right. You get in a few units, you're going to get mercenaries, and you defend a castle. If your goal is not castle, then your macro's off. And what I mean by this is that you right now have a lot of food and gold, but you can't produce units because you don't have wood to get more production. You have a lot of food. So if your goal is to go castle, great. And it looks like it is because you're going to gold. In fact, I think you have too much on gold at this point. You need more on food, actually. You have 2 Kashyyyks now. And this is what I mean. A tower here does so much work. Because a tower here with arrow slits, they can't walk in. And a tower here, they can't walk in. And you need to get walls on the backside. But once again, so you've queued up 4 archers. Now you're housed because you overqueued. So make sure that you're not overqueuing. And you definitely need more on wood because he's boxed you in. You can't go. You have no food sources to go to. You could sneak deer, but like you're gonna start needing. You need to make olive groves soon. You need more on wood. So this mercenary strategy is your go-to. You're gonna okay. I don't know about this. Did you flip the Presidium? Okay. So you actually have it on this to reduce units faster, but you could also put it on the Presidium to defend. Archers walk out. Okay. Alright, once again, and this is why, once again, scouting is so big. You need a scout to know where to raid. You need to drop your age up right now. Because he's on a timer. You're on a timer, actually. Since he went 2T... Did he not go 2TC? What? Oh my god, he never went 2TC. He has 600 stone, but didn't go 2TC. I have to say, you're on a timer because if you went 2TC, he's getting more villagers than you, so you need to go to castle to get relics. Maybe get your own second TC, something like that. Get some sort of benefit. He never went second TC. That's actually wild. Bad move by him. I think maybe he decided pressure is more important. So you built enough archers. You're lucky in that he's not being more aggressive because if you get enough on a Badesha, he just runs over you. But you need a front line, in my opinion. And now here's where your first problem hits. You're out of berries. You don't have enough wood to produce olive groves. You're not making villagers. That's not great. But let's see what you do. Okay, that was a long time. So here's what you've done. You've put way too much focus into the raid. You've had 16 villagers sit here and do nothing for a long time. You haven't been making villagers either. I'm all for raiding, but you have to have your eco set up at home before you raid. So what I mean is raid in waves. So right, you just raided and you ran these Kashyyyks out. Now you need to go home. I suggest you put your TC on a hotkey. I put it on the side of my mouse. And you're doing the macro cycle. The macro cycle is make villagers, make units unless you're going castle and you need to save resources. Check your resources and rebalance your villagers based on your goal. So you guys are going to castle. Make sure you're checking your villager splits so that castle is effective. And you're also planning for the future. You're focusing too much on micro, which killing a villager or two doesn't matter because you're not making villagers, unless you're not getting a lead from killing those villagers. And 2, you're not gathering food. Okay. I really think you should have gone the other landmark if you're doing the Grand Winery and you're getting olive oil and stuff like that. I think you got to do the free mercenaries. But anyway, this is when you need to secure resources. But you're kind of in danger, so that's why a wall here is huge. You can get these berries. A wall's here is huge. You can get these deer. I don't know how you're gonna get food, and you're gonna put yourself in danger to do so. But these little raids are not more important than your eco. Once your eco is set up, you're good. Look how long you've been sitting here in 16. I'm not joking. This is killing you. This is killing you. You have to check your villagers. This damage is all well and good, but you're gonna enter castle with no food. This can't happen. Absolutely not. you need to go to your pocket resources. He's not checking them. You have to go to your pocket resources. You have deer, boar. I don't know if Byzantine can do the boar. I think they can. But deer, boar, berries. And in fact, he's running backwards because your raids are that scary to him. So your raids are effective. But you've killed your castle eco. You should be entering castle on this push where now you're making castle units and you're upgrading your units that you have to castle archers. You have the gold, but you have no food. Since you have no food, you're not going to make villagers, so you're going to fall behind eco. You're not going to be able to make units, so you can't take advantage of this. And you need to enter castle ready to make upgrades, ready to build monasteries and get relics. And you have this timing push now where you can attack while he's entering castle, but you're squandering that because you macroed correctly. My suggestion, any down moment you have, so any moment you're not actively microing a really important fight, check eco and go through that cycle I mentioned. Villagers, military units, check your vill splits, make sure everything's good to go. And my last suggestion, I know I've done a lot of rambling, never, ever, ever have all your villagers on the same food source. Because when it runs out, you're screwed. And it always happens at the worst time. So my suggestion is when you have a down moment, have half your food villagers on a different food source and plan ahead. That's why I suggested having more villagers on wood from the start. Make sure you put a wood camp here so they're not walking too much. So that you could have been slowly adding olive groves while this whole thing's going down. The raid's good, but also, I'm going to say this again, you got to know what's going on here. You have no idea what's going on because you never got a scout and checked it. So watch this. You've been raiding for a while, hitting his villagers. You have 39 vills. He has 36. You should have potentially almost 50 vills. Now that's a big eco lead. But you don't have now. Also, when you hit castle, turn your cisterns to dialecticus, so your research is a lot faster. Because you getting castle faster is more powerful. Okay, you look at your gold. You gotta produce monks. Here's what you do. You ready? You produce a monk, and you shift. And when you're producing, and you have the Grand Winery open, shift click on the relic and back. And when it produces the monk, it will auto walk over, grab it, and bring it back. And that's what I do. Once the monk pops out, I go to the next one. Shift click, back, make the monk. Because relics will be a huge eco boost to you, and also increases your olive oil so you can get more mercenaries. And you need more production. I'd go Vangarian Guard here. Once again, the lack of food is holding you back. 5 on food is physically painful to me when you have deer, and berries. Use your pocket resources. You've squandered your lead because you're not using your pocket resources. You actually defended very well. I'm begging you to go to the deer. Please. But this is a good lesson. People who use pocket resources get this eco boost. Hell, even dropping a market and buying food would have been preferable. But as I was saying, people who use pocket resources are so much more successful because they get this eco boost that pushes them into castle or pushes them into feudal aggression. Because deer get you the... So food sources are not created equal. It goes berries, then farms, then sheep. Sheep and farms, I forget if they flip or not. But then deer and then boar. So if you go on deer, you get a huge food boost. You get so much food off deer. Especially then you get the upgrade survival techniques, which really helps as well. And you just feel it. You get so much food when you start doing that. But if you're going to do this Grand Winery, you have to be on your relic game. You haven't produced units in a while. So now my fear is he hasn't hit castle yet. When he hits castle, he's going to have a much bigger army than you. The food's right here. So in this case, I wouldn't do Vapos here. Wall. Wall will buy you time to run. And you need more production. At this point, you have so much wood that you should never produce more than 2 out of 1 production building. Get more production so you can get your units out. Please send these to relics. Cool little capes, though. I haven't really looked at the monks before. And once again, since you're not scouting, you have no idea what your opponent's doing right now. Literally no idea. And being surprised is a one-way ticket to losing. So, for example, he has if you had scouted him, you might have seen, one, his big-ass army. Two, you would have seen he put down a stable. Three, he went second TC. These are things that knowing would be very, very helpful. But instead, you don't know because you never scouted. Scouting exists throughout the whole game. Two, since you're so slow on getting the relics, he has horsemen out that might kill your monks when you go get it. You're housed. And see, and you won't get housed with this macro cycle. The macro cycle, you will always be checking your resource splits, and you'll notice, oh, I'm about to be housed. Get down a stable now so you don't lose a villager producing a scout out of the TC. Very nice. Okay, with this much olive oil, you need to be constantly producing mercenaries. And I'll drop another mercenary house. Like, you're now getting so much olive oil that you can do multiple mercenary houses. And honestly, I would go Gulams. Gulam, Vangarian Guard, hell, why not? And see, and this is what happens. You wall too late. Even with this tower here, you don't have room for all your gold villagers. Wall. Look how easy this wall is. Just wall. But also, you're playing super passively. You don't know he has a big military, but like, you hit castle first. You're getting castle units. You should be aggressive. You're not raiding anymore. You're not checking anymore. It feels like you're kind of hoping he lets you win instead of doing the things to win. And since you're not checking resources, you're not spending your resources. You have so many resources. Get more stone and drop a second TC. Drop 2 more of each production building. Get your upgrades. And make units. Really, you just need to make units. You should have double, triple this army by now. You're just not making units. You should be pumping Vangarian Guard. You're doing 4 Gulam sets out of the same mercenary house. Why not just have more mercenaries? So, like, basically what I'm saying is, you're not expanding. As you hit castle, you're not expanding your ability to produce military. You're keeping your feudal production. You have more villagers. You have more resources. Increase your production to match that. And that's why I preach that macro cycle. Because it ensures that you're constantly checking your resources, noticing when you have a lot, and then adjusting that. Because he's taking forever to hit castle, but once he hits castle, I think he's going to murk you. And once again, like, connect the wall. A tower in the middle is not a connected wall. If you had walled early, this wouldn't happen. My big thing is, you can kind of survive into feudal without walls if you're being aggressive, but once you hit castle, you have to wall. Because a thing an opponent will just do will make horsemen and charge you. So now you've lost your advantage, right? You had a chance to attack him with castle units, and you still can, but your castle Gulams, your castle Limitani with shield walls, if you got castle archers, you would have walked over him. You would have burned through his army, and then you're just killing villagers. But you waited. You were too passive. This is a huge issue. I mean, if you watch any of my replay reviews, you probably heard me say, we always overestimate our opponent, underestimate our own military ability. You got to be aggressive. You got to get in there and try to do damage. And even if you walk over and you see his army's really big, just walk away. But, like, what would really help to know is if you get scouted. I'm saying that 1,000 times because it's so important. You just have no idea what's going on. Please pick up this relic. Pretty please. Pretty please. Also, pretty please build another mercenary house. And build houses. He went straight... Oh my god. So he went straight imp because there was never any pressure on him. Ever. Ever, ever. Now he's going to make his busted unit. And I bet this becomes a slog. So a big thing about Castle Imperial, for those of you who don't play Castle Imperial very often, is it becomes just as much a game of... And since you waited so long to get the relics, he picked up a lot of them. Oh, there's still 2 in the middle here. You don't know about this one because you didn't scout. But this one's still there. But it becomes a game of who can secure resources. Gold is the biggest one. And space. You're securing space. So the second you hit castle, you need to be getting stone because you need to make a keep. Where do you make a keep? You make a keep on these middle golds. These fat middle golds. And you mine the shit out of them. And then once you get all that gold, you can go back to your back gold. But, like, you got to secure these resources with keeps. And then start walling it to protect your main base. Especially these olive groves. And spend your wood. Build more groves. But here's the thing. You're at 61 villagers. You should be on more. And you honestly probably need a second TC. So now you're going to walk in because you're like, oh shit, he's Imperial. RIP that guy. But you're too late. Okay, at this point you run. Oh, why do you run? You're slicing through him right now, yeah. But he has 2 mangonels. And you have nothing to fight that with. Luckily, he doesn't have his Imperial upgrades. He doesn't have his Veteran upgrades, so he's went straight in. But, like, 2 mangonels are going to do damage here. And you're sitting under his very strong TC. Here comes the Horseman. He's just ripping into you right now. Yeah, the second you ran to Sage, you should have ran. The second you saw mangonels, you're outie. You are outie. Because now you need counter siege. Also, you need to go Imp. The second he went Imp, you have to go Imp. But the problem is you've never increased your food supply and you have 31 inactive villagers. I'm clicking through all of them. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm more exasperated because you were doing very well. And then what often happens is we get to a point where we don't really know what to do and we stop following up on things. And so what's, like, a good question while you're doing this is what's holding you back? What's holding you back is you don't have enough food and enough gold. Why not? Because you don't have enough villagers. Because you put so many villagers on wood when you ran out of food going to castle. And now you're building these farms late. You need more villagers. You need more military. And you have 3,000 wood that you're not doing anything with. If you ever have this many resources, you need to drop a market and sell it. Sell those resources. And now you're starting to trade, which this is not a worthwhile trade. Do not trade on Dry Arabia because you're not going to get anything worthwhile. Just build a second TC. Just build a second TC and make more unit and make more villagers. Would be my suggestion. But the second he hit Imp and you weren't able to attack him, you need to go Imp yourself now. Walls. Outposts are nice, but need walls. And you need to build production. Yep. And notice how many units you're pumping now. If you had done that earlier, you'd be in a lot better spot. But you spent the entire castle not really making units. And sitting in your base. There we go. Counter siege. Here's my suggestion. Do not raid. Do not raid. So your opponent did the right thing. This was a bad keep. He should have put that here, which would have covered the sacred site and this gold. But he has the right idea. Do not raid with your entire cavalry force, because if he attacks you, you need that cavalry force in the fight. F it. Okay. So here's something I've noticed. Very classic problem. You are type. Oh shit. God. You're the type that when a fight happens, you stop your eco. Happens to a lot of people. My suggestion: when you are doing something that no longer requires your perfect attention, like burning something down, you need to take a moment to hotkey back your TC, queue up villagers. Make sure you're making units. My suggestion: you put all your military under one hotkey. I do 3, so that if you do it, watch what happens here. I'll put all your. I'm holding shift, by the way. I'm shift and double clicking, which gathers all of them on screen. Watch what I do. I'm gonna put them all together on 3. Okay, I need to queue stuff. Tab, queue my stable. Tab, barracks. Tab, archers. Tab, mercenaries. Tab, siege. And then I'm using my hotkeys to build the things that I want. And I can rally them together. My suggestion. But really, this is a classic case of you let him do whatever he wanted for 20 minutes, so he made the best military he possibly could have. This siege is impossible. You know what could kill this siege, though? If your horses came right here, right now, they'd be insta-dead. Even then, you did a good job on them. It's just siege tore you apart. Don't take this fight. Like, honestly, just don't take this fight. Like, what you should have done was just walk backwards and have them come in, and then brought all your horses down here and just ran over it and killed all the siege. But you would have won that fight. You just sat under his mangonels. One little tip I have. You notice that a resource is about to run out. I will build a mine, and then I'll shift queue onto the next gold. Now, you don't really have a safe one, but like if there's a safe one, I'd shift queue it so that doesn't happen. Please get him. Please, please run on. Please, just run your horsemen onto him. But really, at this point, the problem is that he's been staying 2 TC forever, and you have not. So you have 93 vills. He has 86. Wow. That's bad. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of your vills are traders, which are getting 24 gold a pop. At this point, you should be selling your gold for food and wood. Okay, you need to push right now. You need to YOLO your horsemen. You keep rallying units, but your horsemen go forward. Yep, get it, get it, get it. Kill it. Press through. Run. Run, don't take this fight. Or just run past them, honestly. No scout in your army, so you have no idea where you're going. You need a scout. Back up an imp. Back up an imp. Please go Imperial. Please build a keep. Please go Imperial. Please go Imperial. Please get a scout. Oh, good catch. Ooh. Okay. Okay, you're Imperial. Oh, run back and kill these villagers. Nice. Okay, that's a cool landmark. Okay, here's the key. A huge no-no is taking a fight after you've aged up. You need to run and upgrade these units. Hit your Pilgrim Flask, Pilgrim. Run and do not take this fight until you have upgraded, because he's running at you with Imperial units, and you cannot lose this force. You have to get it upgraded. Hit your Flask, get him upgraded, and then fight. No, run, run. Please run. Get your upgrades right now. No, don't take this fight. Run. Please run. And that's it. Okay. So the biggest issue is that you actually did a really good job in that late game, but then you didn't protect your army until you upgraded. Why? Why are you taking this fight? Why? Wow, wow. You also need double the production. Okay. Rush that. No siege. Yep, don't fight under castles and mangonels. That sucks. Okay. Alright, so what to take away from this? 1, make sure you are following the macro cycle, where you, every 30 seconds to a minute, you check your base. Have I queued villagers? Have I made military? Unless, you know, you're going castle, in which make a little bit of military, but not like waste all your resources. But if you're fighting, make a military. Get eco upgrades. And then lastly, ask yourself, what's my goal? Is it still my goal? And my villagers split to support that goal. For example, your goal is feudal aggression, you need units. What units are you making? Split for that. This will take time early on, but I'm a big proponent of taking it longer to make the correct decision than going quick on the wrong decision. Second, make sure you are aggressive. Even defensive aggressiveness is important. So you need to, if the macro's right, then when you get to points where you have a chance to do damage, do it. So when you hit castle, you had a chance to do damage, but you couldn't because you didn't have the resources. And use all of the possible advantages you have. Use your pocket resources. Get the relics. Use your powers. And lastly, scouting, man. You got to scout. In the beginning, you need to scout the whole map and scout your opponent. If you lose the scout, make it again. Because running your scout by his base to see what he has, what he's making, what his plan is, his TCs, things like that, super, super helpful. And when Castle and Imperial, you need to secure resources, secure space, wall up, and make sure that you're spending your resources. I hope that was helpful. You played a good game, man. You really could have won that multiple times. It just didn't work out in the end. I hope this was helpful. If you or anyone watching this are interested in private coaching, I do paid private coaching at what I consider a very reasonable price. Message me on Discord below. Follow me on Twitch at RTS Papercut. I plan on streaming again soon, as soon as my child sleeps better. And good luck on your games.